we enter into the body of the service. And so this is all with yellow backgrounds. And then the backgrounds change. This is still Kabbalat Shabbat, but we're now getting into prayers. God began the world by saying, "Let there be light." We begin Shabbat with candlelight saying, God finished creating the world by making Shabbat a holy day. We make Shabbat a holy day for ourselves together.
May the warm glow of these candles remind us of God's light, and may the Shabbat be a special holy time for us.
We call on Ruth Siegel to light the Shabbat candles. Shamor, to guard. Zachor, to remember.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'yisrael, v'tzivanu b'nei shel Shabbat. We just blew it down. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, as may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generation of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Os.
You're not good. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei bri hayafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahavu ratzon inchilanu, Zikaron Maaseh Bereshit, Yehuyot Tefillah, Lemikrai Kodesh, Zeker Yitziat Mitzrayim, Yanu Vacharta, Yotanu Kidashta, Mikol The heaven and earth were finished in all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God stopped on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Prayer is the way we speak to God. Sometimes we pray alone. Sometimes we pray with others.
Sometimes we pray out loud. Sometimes we pray silently.
Sometimes we pray with our words. Sometimes we pray with our deeds.
Sometimes we say our prayers, sometimes we sing them.
However we choose to pray, God, we pray you will always hear us.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'baroma arib arabim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, u'b'tbuna mishaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'msader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem, barakia kirtzono. God, you gave us the Torah to show that you love us. May it always be a friend at our side.
The Torah is our teacher, tells us what is right and what is wrong. It shows us how to live our lives.
Be with us always when we study Torah. Be with us always as we try to live good lives.
We praise you, God, and give you the teaching of the Torah. It is a special gift to us. It is the gift of the world.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. How do we love God? How do we love God? With all our hearts. How do we love God with all our minds? How do we love God with all our strength? Help us, God, to be people who give tzedakah. Keep on You are with us at all times, God, when we sleep and when we wake. When it is dark, we turn to you for light. When we are afraid, we turn to you for courage. When we feel weak, we turn to you for strength. Be with us tonight and always. Help us to know you are there. Connor. And just before we do the Geshamru, I just need to tell you that tonight we are live streaming, and so we haven't told anybody, so virtually nobody knows that other than us. But tonight is the night for you to practice, because from now going forward to small groups of people for a while, we will be live streaming services, and therefore the congregational participation part has to be really loud. Do you have your loud hand on? I mean, I know you don't have a... There's your dog. Really?
Shabbat left one good thing for last.
Shabbat, the day to give thanks for the world and its wonders.
Now the seventh day has come, now Shabbat begins.
To bring us rest, to bring us joy, to bring us song, to bring us peace.
On this day we remember the goodness of earth and air, water and sun, and all that grows.
On this day we remember the many gifts of God. Let us remember and let us give thanks. Pray as if everything depended on God together. Act as if everything depended on you. An amazing quote. Every time I see it, it makes me sit back and think, how am I doing? Don't answer. It's an internal question. And please rise as we open the ark and invite Hannah Pollack to join her grandson. Na 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 na. Na 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 svatayita. Na 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 upiyagi. Upiyagi tehilate. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 svatayita. Na 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 upiyagi. Upiyagi tehilate. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 svatayita. Na 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 upiyagi. Upiyagi tehilate. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ha'adonai Elohim Yom Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'konei hakol, v'zochech chasdei avot v'imavot, me'vigeula libnei v'neihem, l'ma'an shemo be'ahava, melech Ozeinu Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Sometimes when I talk to God, I feel connected to something from long, long ago. Something that makes me feel safe, that lets me know I am never alone. Atagibu le'olam Adonai, v'chayei hakol atagradoshia, v'chaker chayim b'chesed, v'chayei hakol b'rachamim rabim. Zolech nofim d'rofei olim, umatir asurim. We are mighty like God when we help other people. We are strong like God when we feed the poor. We are great like God when we care for the sick. We are awesome like God when we help people be free. We are amazing like God when we take care of our earth. Oh God, as we remember all the heroic things you do, you promise to try to be like you. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim v'chol ya'alnu chazela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. does peace look like? It looks like Jacob and Esau hugging after many years apart. It looks like two countries signing a peace treaty. It looks like Rebekah comforting Isaac after the death of his mother Sarah. What does peace sound like? It sounds like kind words on a bad day. It sounds like a sincere apology and a promise to try harder. It sounds like people who are different trying to understand each other. What does peace feel like? Oseh shalom b'brama, v'yanaseh shalom, aleinu v'yol Yisrael, Baruch. Amen. Tonight's Misha Berach list, TBEI members Barbara Abramowitz, Ruth Benson, Vivian Berkman, Beverly Elster, Helen Heller, Len Heller, Samuel Kreuter, Linda Levin, Evie Morabito, Joe Morabito, Joel Rosenberg, Ethel Rolnick, Chuck Steinberg, Sarah Teitelbaum. And if there are other names, please rise and feel free to share.
Andy Shabona, Karen Louise Snyderman-Beck, Melissa Matthews, Baby Zachary, and Suzanne Brando. Thank you. Armand Barfus.
Chuck Freshets, Arthur Freshets, Stanley Freeman. Carol Roth,
Linda Crease Vittoria.
Nick Fleetwood, Stanley Silverberg. Tina Heck, Anita Silverman, Jerry Silverman.
David Koskovitz. Ruth Ann Lusgarden, Jay Burson, Rosemary Steinkamp.
George Walsh.
Viva Dorle, Rachel Cavall.
Diane Bentley and Mark Reynolds, and I would like to say a prayer for our young men and women in the armed forces for fear of overseas. May they continue to be safe.
Amen. When I was a child and an adult, I was always fascinated by geography, especially European geography, where there was a city that I couldn't find. and nobody could tell me where it was. We all knew about it. We all believed we had been there. We just didn't know where to find it on a map, because Chelm doesn't appear on a map. Chelm was a place in Europe, amongst the mountains, where when God was distributing humanity and sent out the birds with sacks full of souls to inhabit the earth, he was all done. But he didn't know what to do with the lesser intelligent ones, the fools. So he put them all in one bag, and he said to the bird, "Go around and disperse the fools." But there were so many that the bird got tired. And at a certain time, right, of course, over the mountains, it appeared to the bird that the mountains were getting higher, and the bird was getting lower. Now, whether that was the case, or whether the bird was just getting lower, we'll never know. But what we do know is that at some point in time, the bird's bag met the mountains of the Lord. And the bag was torn open. And the souls of all of those kind fools fell out of the bag and rolled down into the valley and became the residents of Chelm. Now, Chelm was missing a number of things. Intellect was one. Money was quite another. They didn't have any money. So they all got together and said, what are we going to do? How are we going to make money? None of us have jobs. And they thought, and they thought, and they had a meeting. They came back again. They had another meeting. And the meetings went on and on and on. And eventually, one kind soul, Gimbal the Fool, stood and said, I have the answer. The entire crowd was shocked. Gimbal the Fool had an answer. What is your answer, Gimbal? He said, this is not hard. This is not hard. What we need is something that nobody else has, so they'll all come to us to visit. Now, Gimbal was the same guy who decided that what they needed was a windmill to move water. The problem was, if they put it down where the stream was, nobody would see it, because it was down in the valley. So they built it on the top of the mountain so that everybody else could see it. Of course, it didn't work, because the water was at the bottom of the hill. But that wasn't their problem. Their problem was it was built incorrectly and facing the wrong direction. It never occurred to them that the idea of a windmill is to churn and move water. So now, Gimbal has a better idea, and the community is scared. And Gimbal says, what we need is something nobody else has. I have the perfect answer. Okay, Gimbal, let's capture the moon. And if we catch the moon, everybody who wants to see the moon will have to come to us. And in a unanimous decision, after enormous amounts of thought, none of it good, they decided Gimbal was right. Gimbal the Fool had come up with an A+ answer. Let's capture the moon. Well, How are you going to do it? He says, don't you think I'm a fool? I've considered it. If we go to the barrel of water right outside the shul, and it's there. It's right there in the water. You can see it every night. All we have to do is catch it. And so they set about to capture the moon. They sat quiet as they could be, so they didn't want to scare anything. And sure enough, in the middle of the night, they stealthily walked up to the barrel. And they slid the top off the barrel, and there was the moon. And so they threw the top on. They nailed it and hammered it shut. And they even got somebody to sit on it all night long so it couldn't escape. And in the morning they said, this is perfect. And they called everybody from all the different villages in the valley and said, you've got to come see what we have. We have something no one has. And they gathered all the communities. And there was talk everywhere about what could possibly be a helm that nobody has. And they turned to Gimple and they said, this was your idea. You should be proud. You tell them. And Gimple said, right here, right in this barrel, we have captured the moon. And we will be showing it to you all at 12 o'clock noon. And at 12 o'clock noon, the valley was ablaze with talk and chatter. And he went, and he took the top off. He looked inside. He looked again. He scratched his head. He put the top back on. And he walked over to the committee and he said, somebody has stolen the moon. Couldn't be, it's too big, it couldn't, it's, slides the top off again. The moon has been stolen! And they accused everybody from every different community. Your community stole the moon, but it had to be yours. And they sent everybody away. And they sat scratching their heads, not knowing what to do. They spent all day, they prayed, they said, how could you do this to us? And somebody stood up and said, Gimple, is it possible you made a mistake? He said, I don't think so. And they went out to the barrel. They took the top off. And Gimple goes, I'm so sorry. It's right there. I must have made a mistake. It's right there. And they quickly hammered and nailed it shut again. And they sat and they stared at it all night long. They never took their eyes off. And in the morning, just to be sure, at 11 o'clock this time, so in case somebody tried to steal it at 12, it would be there. And they took that top off. And again, they were befuddled. Someone had stolen the moon right out from in front of them. They didn't know what to do. Well, here's what happens. Everybody was watching, and from the back of the crowd, someone yelled and screamed, I'll bet my way would have worked, but since Gimple failed to bring forth the moon, nobody could notice that Beryl the beetle was in the back of the crowd going, he's a fool, I could have caught it. Well, it took a great deal of Gimple's eloquence to explain to the Helmites that due to their negligence in failing to use preservatives, the moon had melted. And in fact, they didn't use water at all. they had filled the barrel with beet soup. And so the moon had melted into the beet soup. For hours thereafter and late into the night, you could notice numbers of Hellmites wandering around the square, looking at the cobblestones, and believing they actually saw spots of light from bits of melted moon. They're not that bright. And then, a few weeks later, there was a little event that happened, which should be not mentioned. Beryl happened to run into Gimple coming home from the synagogue, and Beryl pointed to the orange moon riding low in the heavens, and he righteously remarked, "I don't like to criticize you, Brother Gimple, but was it right telling us that the moon was in the barrel, and that it escaped, and that it melted? You know it escaped, but you told us it melted." And Gimple replied with the greatest of tolerances, "That there is not the same moon that we captured. Because every month you should know there is a new moon." How many of us know somebody who clearly is either a descendant of I have my answer. Shabbat Shalom.
But none of those descendants are here tonight.
No.
Right.
No, we're just relatives.
Right.
Nobody connected.
Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to welcome everybody here and our visitors. I'd like to wish, there are several people on our birthday list tonight, but most of them aren't here because they're probably out celebrating their birthdays. But I do want to wish Lenny a happy belated birthday and his wife Eve a happy birthday, since her birthday is on Tuesday. So they are just a few days apart, and they are sponsoring tonight's Onig for us. So happy birthday, both A few highlights. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. is Torah study with Dr. Larry Giltman, and anybody who attends knows what a fabulous hour it is. On Friday, the 18th, Very Fresh is offering us 20% back on our bills when we go for breakfast, brunch, or lunch. So please, if you enjoy Very Fresh, please go there on Friday the 18th and make sure you take the flyer with you, and Very Fresh will donate 20% of your ticket back to us. Tu B'Shvat Seder, service and Seder is the following day, January 19th in the morning. There are flyers in the social hall and out on the table about the Seder. There is no cost, but it does follow services, so please attend services and then attend the Seder afterwards. Meal and a movie is that same night for $15. You get a delicious barbecue dinner from PA Barbecue and a free movie. Then moving on for just a moment to February. On February 8th, 9th, and 10th, we have our Sephardic Music Weekend. Trio Sephardi, three amazing musicians, will be in Vero for their services on that Friday night, here Saturday evening for a concert, and then in Stuart on Sunday. The concert here is in the evening. The tickets are not yet available, but the cost of the concert will only be $10. And if you look up Trio Sephardi in the internet, you will see some of their YouTube performances. And if you look under their concert schedule, unfortunately they spelled Stuart S-T-E-W-A-R-T. But they got Port St. Lucie correct. Please look for other dates and events in the weekly news, which are out in the lobby. And I hope to see everybody at the Onig, sponsored by our two wonderful people, Eve and Lenny, in honor of their birthdays. Shabbat Shalom.
As we conclude this evening's service, we invite Eve and Lenny Epstein to open the ark. That's you. Aleinu l'shabeach Adon HaKol, Matei Lanu Tzeh Bereshit, Shelo Asanu Kinui Ha'aratzot, V'lo Samanu K'mishpachot Ha'adamah, Shelo Samanu Kahem, V'gor Aleinu K'chol HaOlam, V'anatnu Korim, U'mishtachavim U'roim, Wife of 60-some-odd years, her husband Norm, and those whose yahrzeits occurred this week: Arthur Block, Robert Bloom, Abraham Kaplan, Irene Durman, Jenny Dessler, Larry Gladstone, Thelma Goldfinger, Julius Heller, Albert Hutchinson, Louis Katz, Dan Pop Lake, Helen Lerman, Ruth Planet, Helen Popper, Stephen Redmond, Dr. Victor Robinson, Dr. William Robinson, Joseph Rothenberg, Herb Silverstein, Rose Simon, Eva Spitolnik, Bertha Tannenbaum, Dr. Melvin Molokowski, Isidore Zert. And as always, we remember all those taken at the hand of the oppressor, including over 1.5 million children of the Holocaust, for whom we are responsible to recite Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'Yitkadash Shnei Rava, Ya'aman Tigran Dute, Yomlit Malchute, Chai Echon v'Yom Echon, Chai Echon, Beit Yisrael, Ha'agalam Zizman Megil Yiru, Amen. Yehei Shnei Rava V'Rava, La'olam U'Lamei Omayah, Yitbarach v'Yishabach, Yitbarach v'Yitamam Yitaseh, Yitadar v'Yitamel Yitalal, Beit Yishar v'Richu,
v'shirata, yushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiranda Allah v'milu amen. Yehi shalom harav min shemayim, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'milu amen. Oseh shalom v'yomah, v'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'milu amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Ooh, of all the Hanukkah songs. Hanukkah already happened, didn't it? Yeah. Okay, well that was fine then. But those of us who are here most of the time know that this is Shabbat. Connor, you want to bring anybody up with you? Nope, there's nobody. Maybe we should start to do this by height. You'd still come up, it's okay. Oh, that's... Okay, you can do it. Well, that was not particularly very good. Voila! Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Again, as is our new tradition, if you would please exit through those doors at the end of the service and go through the lobby into the social hall, that will be wonderful. May we all go forward on this Shabbat, seeing what is in front of us, not just what we would like to see it be, but what it actually is. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.